Last page here, we are graphing inequalities. So number 13 is in the form of y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to start with my y-intercept. My y-intercept will be that second number there. So -7 is my y-intercept. As a coordinate, that would be 0, -7. And my slope is the number in front of the x, so my slope is 2. You can imagine it saying 2 over 1. So first thing we need to do is graph the points, and then we'll talk about what kind of line and how to shade it. So at 0, -7, I'm going to plot a point. And then I'm going to use my slope of 2. So that means I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. Same thing, I'll go up 2 again, over 1. So I've got a few points. Since my symbol is less than, I know that it is going to be dashed. And I know that I'm going to shade below the line. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my line here. It's going to be dashed though. Still has arrows on both sides. And then I'm going to shade everything below that line. So I'm going to pick a point on that line, and I'm going to go either directly below or above. So that is the direction that I'm going to shade. So everything underneath that line should make this inequality true. Okay, we could pick a point as well. So let's say I wanted to pick a point in that shaded region. Let's go with an easy one. Maybe let's choose 5, 0, and then plug it into my inequality. So 0 is my y value, and then I'm plugging in 5 for x, and we're just checking, is this true? The 0 is less than 10 minus 7. Is 0 less than 3? Yes, it is, so we know that we've shaded in the correct area. Moving on, number 14. Number 14, I'm going to start with my y-intercept. My y-intercept is that second number as 0, 3 as a coordinate. So I can go ahead and plot that on the graph. And then my slope is the number in front of the x, so my slope is going to be -4. If there's no number underneath it, we can imagine it being a 1. So let's go ahead and create a few more points here with that. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going left 1 to create a point. Looks like I'm going to run out of room if I keep going up, so I'm going to go down from that blue dot. I'm going to go down 4, and then to the right 1. Okay, with a symbol like this in slope-intercept form, we know that we are going to have a solid line, and it is going to be shaded above. Okay, so I can create my solid line between all three of those points. And then if I pick one of those points on that line, and if it's shading above, I'm going to go directly above or below to know which way I'm shading. So everything above this line is going to be shaded and part of your solution. Okay, double check our answer here. If we pick a point in our shaded region, let's pick the point 2, 0, and I'm going to plug that in. So 0 is my y value, and then I'm plugging in 2 for x. Is this true? 0 is greater than or equal to -8 plus 3. Is 0 greater than -5? Yes, it is. So we do know that we have shaded correctly. Moving on, number 15. So number 15 is actually in standard form here. However, it's asking me to find the m and the y-intercepts. That makes me think that maybe I need to do something else. So let's get this into slope-intercept form. Okay, so I'm going to solve this here, and I'm going to get the y to be by itself. So I'm going to subtract 6x, subtract 6x, and I have -4y is less than or equal to -6x plus 20. Okay, continuing this, I want to get rid of that -4, so I'm going to divide. So your final answer is going to be y is not less than or equal to anymore, but greater than or equal to, since we divided by a negative. And then we've got on the right side, we're going to have two fractions. So we've got 6x divided by 4. Since these are both negative, it becomes positive in this fraction. And then I have 20 divided by -4, which is going to give me -5. Okay, we should be thinking to ourselves, can I simplify this? I can, in fact, simplify this problem here. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify this fraction. So your final slope-intercept is going to be y greater than or equal to 3/2 x minus 5. So my y-intercept will be 0, -5. My slope is that number in front of your x, so 3/2. Okay? So let's go ahead and graph this. I'm going to start with my y-intercept at 0, -5. Going to create more points with my slope of 3/2. So I'm going up a +3 and over a +2. I'm going to do that again, up a +3 over a +2. And before we get any crazy, we're going to go ahead and look at this symbol here. Okay, since it is greater than or equal to, we should think, is that solid or dashed? It's going to be a solid line. So I can create a solid line between these 3 points. And then since it is greater than and it is in slope-intercept form, we can go ahead and shade above. Okay, so any of those points, I'm going to directly go above or below, straight up. That's where I know I'm going to shade. So everything above that line will be a solution to this inequality. Okay, one of the shaded points, our favorite, 0, 0, easiest one to choose to check. So I'm going to go up to the original equation here, and I'm going to plug in 0, 0. So 6 times 0 minus 4 times 0, is that less than or equal to 20? Well, this is 0 minus 0. So is 0 less than or equal to 20? Yes, it is. So we know that we have shaded on the correct side of that line. Last problem here, number 16. 16 is also in standard form here, and it's asking us for the x-intercept and y-intercept. So we're going to go ahead and use that standard form to solve for those two. So I'm going to go ahead and set up two equations here. 4x minus 7 times 0 is going to be equal to -28 because we're solving for our x-intercept. So that's going to go away. We have 4x equal to -28. So we got to divide by 4. So x equals -7. When I'm writing that as an x-intercept, though, I'm going to write -7, 0. Similarly, I'm going to plug in 0 for my x value so I can solve for my y-intercept. That's going to cancel out, and I have -7y is equal to -28. So I'm going to divide by -7, and y equals 4. As a coordinate, though, it will be 0, 4. So all I need to do is graph those 2 points, and we are done after we have shaded. So -7, 0, and 0, 4. Make sure you're on the correct x and y axis there. Now we got to check and see, is this going to be a solid line or a dashed line? This symbol right here tells me this is going to be a dashed line. And then we're going to have to pick a point since this is not in slope-intercept form. So pick a point to check. So dashed line between these two. And then the easiest point to check is going to be 0, 0. If 0, 0 is true in this inequality, we're going to shade on that side. If not, we will shade on the other side. So I'm going to plug it in. 4 times 0 minus 7 times 0, is that less than -28? Well, this becomes 0 and this is 0. So is 0 less than -28? That is not true. So we are not going to shade on this side. We are going to shade on the opposite side. Everything above the line here is going to make that inequality true. Okay? Make sure you're double checking, picking a point, not always using that shading above or shading below. If you have other questions, please come in and see me before the summative test.